Just going to show the Banished town that I think I'm about done with. There wasn't a lot more to do. Just going to demo the game real quick here. This is a town of, right now it's, I can't see with the overlay. It's 621. It should be 770 or more once it's past the population swing where, because of overcrowding, no new children are being born quickly enough, then the population drops. Then it shoots back up, then it drops. So I'm currently sort of in the lull. What I've done here is I created a bunch of, I think a lot of people do this, I created a bunch of sort of wood cutting forestry areas here. They're kind of all isolated. Try to give them houses, try to give them storage, or have them near storage. So that, like, this is an example right here. Try to keep everything out of its coverage radius so I don't interfere with its operations. And then put, markets around with a bunch of houses around them. And then storage buildings for any excess from any farms around there. And usually there's stockpile to store manufactured goods, but I don't need too many of those, just for logs and firewood. I try to trade away excess logs and firewood. I do a lot of farming. I try to have this town do about pretty much everything, but they don't mine iron and they don't mine coal, so I have to trade for all that. But no problem. I have like a surplus of 25,000 food most times. When the population shoots up, it stops dropping, but it never goes to zero because there's a high enough surplus that it takes me all the way through the population swing. So it shoots up. I don't have quite enough food to support everyone, but I'm certainly not starving. And in fact, I never see starvation in this town. People always have access to food quickly enough. I have maybe 6 trading posts along the river. It's always good to have a bunch of them because then you get a wider variety of traders. My town hubs, I'll tend to put things like taverns, maybe a woodcutter. But most of my woodcutters are at the forestry station, where that's the best place to run because the logs are right there. But I might throw in the occasional extra woodcutter to deal with extra output. Tailors, they're pretty good by markets. Generally, the vendors are supplying the markets with the wool and the leather that you need. Some fishing. I kind of put fishing docks wherever it makes sense. I think you can overfish an area. I'm not 100% sure on that. I put my cemeteries in the out of the way places possible. Put this chapel next to it to also get it out of the way. I tend to produce maybe a little too much wool. I've had problems with that where my wool inventory filled up. I actually stopped farms from producing wool. I went to the farms, I clicked stop work on all of my pastures. Stopped work on all my sheep pastures, and I was still getting wool. I have no idea. I guess the sheep continue to be sheared by someone or killed by someone and then their wool extracted. I don't know. Or either that or it's a bug. I'm not sure which. Another problem that kind of annoys me is trading posts won't adhere to the resource limits. So if I put 1,000 resource limit on stone, my trading post will buy as much stone as they can get, which is annoying because that then your stockpiles are filling up with stone when you really just want to keep a certain amount in reserve for building. So by this time of the game, you just build occasional house that. And towards the end of the sort of when the town was pretty expanded, what I did is I went and found areas where I didn't really feel like building any kind of farms or anything, and I just dropped in a gatherer's hut just to yield what stuff they can out of the woods. So I have a bunch of these sort of gatherer's huts that are sort of in the in-between areas where I just didn't feel like it made much sense to build farms. Build a bunch of orchards, make a lot of ale. I don't really try to do trade ale because I don't really need to trade much. Just I have so much of everything that trade is just whatever happens to be inside the trading posts. So for example, let's say that's a fishing dock. This trading post here, I keep, some corn, I've like 50,000 fish, so I keep a ton of fish. And I say, hey, go fill this thing with 4,000 fish because I'm never going to burn all my fish up. And, just a bunch of mushrooms and onions and peppers. It'll just trade whatever I happen to have a surplus of. And then I also always buy tools because you just can't have enough tools. So even though I make tools, I have each trading post set to buy 75 tools. I have each trading post set to buy 300 coal because even though your blacksmiths don't need all that much coal, your people will use it as fuel, unfortunately. It'd be nice to turn that off because there's plenty of logs for them, but they will take the coal. Crazy guys and girls. So I buy some iron for the blacksmith, a fair amount of coal because it always gets burned up by my people, a ton of fruit to kind of help my taverns if I run out of fruit for that I'm producing. And I don't know, sell a few herbs because I usually have surplus of those, and or I buy. Oh, I'm purchasing herbs. Yeah, okay, I see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm purchasing herbs, but that's probably just to make sure I don't run out. No big deal. I could probably sell herbs maybe even, but I don't have a ton of herbalists. But I seem to be doing fine. I just don't run out of herbs, so we're all good. That's the only important part there. And yeah, um, it's really kind of my plan, just to do a little bit of everything. You could do like a specialist town, just specialize, say, in wood and just sell wood and trade for everything else. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a bunch of ways to play. I kind of like the diverse town myself. And I wanted it to be, not too crammed with everything, so I just haven't densely packed anyone in. So I'm sure I could get easily over 1,000, but then I'll probably start running into a lot of problems. If you haven't seen the game, I just show you a few things that are kind of cool. You can actually track people, see what they're doing. This guy's or is that a girl? That's probably a girl. Valen. I don't know. Oh, no, it's a guy. I don't know the gender symbols, believe it or not. So he's a cleric, so I guess he doesn't do too much. This person is probably a vendor because they got a wheelbarrow. Nope, they're a fisherman. Where's the person with the wheelbarrow? There. There we go. There's a vendor. So I can follow them around. What they're going to do is they're going to go get stuff and bring it into the market to centralize all the goods. So all the stuff that's being produced and going into these like storage barns, those vendors can go retrieve it all and bring it to market. They can bring logs, firewood, whatever. Anyway, that's just a little bit of demo of the game. I guess not much to show. This kind of panning through the city. There's just more of the same everywhere you look. Some farms, the center areas with the markets and the houses, and then the kind of the outposts where I have forester lodges, woodcutters, stockpiles, so they efficiently produce firewood. So that turns out to be a pretty good deal. Thanks.